Welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 818. I'm Tom Cagley, your host. This week we continue the story of Innovatech, the business novella David Herron and I are writing. Innovatech, once a tech darling, is struggling. The delivery of new functionality used to be so easy. Now it isn't, leading to all sorts of unproductive behaviors. Emma, the director of residential construction technology products, leads a one-person crusade to wake the organization up before it approaches a death spiral. We also have a visit from Keis Kostaqi. In this installment of her You Are Not Alone column, we discuss how Scrum Masters need to adapt when organizations start over. Learn to tame your work intake beast. Jeremy Willits and I continue our work intake summer camp. We're celebrating summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and we're going through week by week looking at the primary causes of work intake problems and how to solve them. Join us for an entertaining and informative LinkedIn Live event. Our next session begins at 11:30 Eastern Daylight Time on July 10th. Links in the show notes to the previous sessions. Each session, one work intake problem, how to recognize the problem, how to solve the problem, and some scary stories. Innovatech. Man plans and God laughs. Installment 2 of the Innovatech saga by Thomas M. Cagley Jr., David Herron, Megan E. Cagley. After a handful of months, nearly every product and technical team at Innovatech is engaged in the Embracing AI program. The campus pulses with activity from early morning to late at night. Emma has been invited to meetings before 8 a.m. and after 6 on a regular basis and has already slept in her office and showered in the company gym before starting the day. No one bats an eye. Even with all of the perceived activity, all is not right. The delivery of new features isn't on schedule. Emma begins to perceive that the delivery of new and updated functions seems to be stuck in low gear, and she is worried. Recently, meetings between the software department, known as R&D, and their business partners have become volatile. After a bit of poking around, Emma has gathered the stress between R&D and the rest of the business isn't new. Emma reflects that no one thought to mention that quagmire during her interview process 6 months ago. One of her poking around discussions unearthed rumbling that corporate leadership worries that R&D isn't supporting company goals. The topic of whether R&D is even on the product value chain is rumored to have been added to the leadership's upcoming retreat agenda. A product value chain is a business model that examines all related activities for taking a product from idea to sellable item. Since Innovatech's product is software, most of R&D should be part of the value chain. Most of the company views R&D as a support function and treats them like that. That is almost the same as Ford Motor Company viewing vehicle assembly as a support function. If true, the lack of alignment can cause a large range of problems, including slow delivery of features, higher costs, and lower quality products. The business and R&D are acting like different countries. The business thinks R&D speaks a different language and has different goals. Everyone thinks only they understand what the customers need. Enter Emma, a senior engineering manager who has recently joined the company. She sees the storm building and does not want to look for another job, at least not right now. Something needs to be done. One evening, After everyone leaves the office, Emma begins to confirm her suspicions. Confirmation will give her the basis to start a conversation with her management. Emma gathers 3 sets of data. The first set is the quarterly feature delivery rate for the last 2 years. The data shows only the work R&D has delivered. Emma knows that's not a complete picture, but it is what she can get. By visualizing the data, Emma can see that fewer features are being delivered. Along with this downturn in feature delivery, they're taking longer. This is a perfect way to lose customers. The taking longer is shown using a median cycle time in days. Emma knows the problem isn't sloth. She walks the floors. Everyone is busy. The weekly change management meeting often takes hours. The change board reviews each change before it goes into production. There is lots of activity, but few features delivered. As a final step in her diagnostic study, Emma visualizes the flow distribution from R&D's point of view. At the organization level, the organization expects 20% of the work to be focused on delivering and fixing defects, 10% on reducing technical debt, 10% focused on reducing software risk, and 60% on delivering new features. At the team level, 30% of the work goes toward defects, 25% on reducing technical debt, 20% on reducing risks, and a meager 25% on new functions. Looking at the result, Emma knows what she's seeing isn't the plan management rolled out at the beginning of the year to support the new program. The data shows more effort being spent on run the business and problems categories. At least on the surface, the work to grow the business is being redirected to keep the lights on. Unbidden, a snippet of the chorus from You Got Trouble from the Broadway play The Music Man pops into Emma's head. Trouble. Oh, we got trouble. Right here in River City. Right here in River City. With a capital T. And it goes on from there. In retrospect, if anyone had taken the time to gather the data, the problem was there to see. Everyone at Innovatech is too busy fighting fires. Almost every meeting begins with leadership asking everyone to give 110%. Emma reflects that unless she makes some noise, nothing is going to happen. Thoughts, comments, all welcome. We'll continue the saga of Innovatech with a transition point in a few weeks. Keis Kostaqi, welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast again.
Thank you. Very nice to be back. Hello, Tom.
It's been a while, and you have a natural penchant for being able to talk to young, new Scrum Masters. Many of them haven't, I almost said suffered through, but gone through the natural cycle with teams where they get to start their agile transformation over again with a team. Maybe the team is just changed so dramatically. Maybe the organization has. Maybe they've decided that they're going to go from Scrum to, Crystal, let's say. Something else. And they have to start their transformation over. What advice would you provide?
To the Scrum Masters, I would say, what I've noticed is, even as a Scrum Master, right, when you're with a specific team for a long time, I feel like we always go back to something being like a monotony. Like we do the same thing over and over. We do the daily scrums, we do the sprint reviews, and we tend to not think of the challenges, not think of what new questions we can ask the team members, what new problems can we solve, how can we solve them differently. And when you're with the team for that long, you kind of go back to something that is known to you and that is familiar and safe. And I think as Scrum Masters starting over or going through this transformation, whether it is the same team that just got new team members, or like you said, the organization is going through something and now you have to start again, we have to keep thinking about what we can do different as Scrum Masters, right? We're there as coaches, we're there as somebody who will help these teams go through the agile process and answer questions. I think we need to look within first and see what we can do differently so that we can entice a different behavior from the teams that we're working with.
How long's too long with the team?
I think a year is too long with the team. I think it is way too long. You get comfortable, they get comfortable with the Scrum Master. You fall into the same habits over and over, and you think things are going great. And, when you start with the new team, I've had the option to do one with what I've stayed with a team for over a year, and I've started with a new team. And I feel like when I'm getting that new team, it's like the excitement of, oh, I get to learn what they do and how their processes are and what I can help them, do better or get better at. And, it's that excitement that we need to have over and over. And if you stay with a team for too long, I feel like we just get too comfortable and we don't think about that.
What's the downside of being too comfortable?
You don't help the team grow. There's no growth anymore. You just do the same things over and over. You don't think about what you can do differently, even with retros. I know we're supposed to do it in retros.
How does it affect your growth?
Because then, as a result, as a Scrum Master, I'm not thinking about what I can learn or what is out there to learn so I can push some behavior, some type of activity onto the team.
Push activities on a team. That's a scary statement. Maybe.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a couple of seconds to unpack what you meant by that?
A lot of teams.
Hey, put that cattle prod back down. No. I'm kidding.
You get used to the same things over and over, like running a retro the same way. You just do it the same way. Let's go through what went well this sprint, what we can do differently. What are some of the challenges? It's like the same questions over and over. And people get so, at the same time, the safe and comfortable scares me. I feel like if you fall into a routine, it's not good. Mm. So when I say push new activities, as Scrum Masters, we should always, always be learning every day, something different, a new technique. What's going on with other teams, maybe in your organization. Talk to other Scrum Masters to see what they're doing differently. Our personalities as Scrum Masters are different. So we tend to take things or solve something in our own way. And I've discovered that when I talk to other Scrum Masters, I get to learn new ways of doing things or different approaches to a specific challenge that we're having. And that is learning in itself as well. So when you're new into Agile, I feel like new Scrum Masters have different approaches as well because they're trying to learn the process itself. So they're coming up with new ways to approach things. And the more seasoned Scrum Masters can learn a lot from them, not just the other way around.
Oh, I think that's a good perspective. If you were to advise someone in a smaller organization that they only had one or two Scrum Masters, how would they stay fresh and current?
I mean, there's so many things out there to learn and to read about. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can reach out if you've ever gone through a transformation and you had a coach guide you through that transformation. Reach out to that coach and see if they can provide a different perspective from other companies or organizations they've worked with. Always that outside perspective helps. If it's just like one other person in your organization, maybe there's not a lot to learn from each other anymore if it's just the two of you. So always look outside for a new and fresh perspective. There's so many websites and organizations out there that can help.
I agree. I do think that in many circumstances, it is easy to get very comfortable. And in that comfort, lose an edge. And that may be just the way organizations are built. Do you really think people do challenge themselves? I mean, obviously, you're sitting here on a podcast having this kind of conversation. You are not necessarily a normal human being. So, but in your observation, do people actually wake up in the morning and go, I need to learn something new today?
I hope they do.
That's a different, yep. I hope they do too. Do you think they do?
I don't know. Like I said, I want to think the positive side of things. I hope they do so they can grow themselves. Maybe they don't do it as often. I think oftentimes as human beings, we tend to want to learn new things or change things when we're frustrated or tired with whatever we have going on in our everyday lives or whatever position we might have or job that we're doing or task. So that prompts okay, now I need to learn something new. And it shouldn't be it. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be waiting for that thing to happen so you can learn something different. I think we should always have that fresh perspective and actually wake up every morning and say what I can learn that is different, so that when that moment comes, or if you want to pivot to something else in your career, then you are prepared to do it, or you have that perspective to see what you can pivot to and not just wait for some frustration to come along to change something in your life. But that's how I see things.
Well, that's fair.
I hope not everybody does. But.
Well, we'll come back to that. Keis Kostaqi, thank you for sharing your wisdom on You Are Not Alone this month on the Software Process and Measurement Cast. Keis, how can people continue the conversation with you?
You can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. Shoot me a message and I'll respond back. I'm looking forward to new ideas and perspectives and learn from people.
Thanks again, Keis. We'll talk to you again next month.
Thank you.
In Reread Saturday News, while Chapter 5 of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's Flow focuses on the body's impact on optimal experience, Chapter 6 is titled The Flow of Thought. It focuses on the mind's contribution. The author points out that most of us have little control over our minds. We are attracted to what is seemingly most important at the moment. We fill the gaps with stimuli that don't evoke flow or optimal experiences. Links in the show notes to this week's and the 6 previous weeks' installments of our reread of Flow, and a link to go buy a copy of the book and read along. In the next Software Process and Measurement Cast, we speak with Soumyadeb Mitra, founder and CEO of RudderStack. We talk about the effective use of customer data. If process improvement is a never-ending journey, why do so many people ask, are we there yet?